the Mythic Legion's community. You know my guest is an awesome artist from California. And probably if you wear a Legion's con, you are familiar with these custom figures. His piece of art. And the name of my guest is Eric Lebron, and he's ready to join with me in my show. Eric, welcome to the show. And actually, you come back on my show because we did a show together along with another Eric a few weeks ago. I believe was to the prediction for Necronominus. So I'm very happy to have you back in my show. And meanwhile, I set up because as a really professional broadcaster, I watch the show in some other device to control the show, my friends. How you doing, Eric? Welcome. I feel you. Maybe you're mute, man, because I don't hear your voice now.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Thank you
Yes,
again for having me on the show again.
Take number two. We are right here
Yes,
on the
sir.
show, and my guest is Eric Lebron. Eric,
There
welcome
we
to the
go.
show.
Hey, everybody. How is everybody doing tonight? Yeah. No, it's a pleasure to be back on your show. A real privilege. You're an amazing YouTuber, and it's really cool to be part of this.
You're an amazing artist, my friends. So
Thank
I
you.
want to jump immediately in your adventure, because the art is an adventure. No, you are an artist. You start your adventure. Tell me how start. You remember when you think about to do custom, and why? What is your first step to be in this world of creativity?
Yeah, I actually remember the exact time and place that I was. I was actually attending um, PowerCon 2019 with a friend of mine, and it was just one of those things where it just happened to be where the Four Horsemen Studios was doing their thing, and I came across their figures, and it was just one of those things where I realized quickly that the customizing aspect of these figures was beyond anything I had ever collected in my entire collecting life. So I looked at the figures and didn't really have the thought in mind, but then at the same show, right across the aisle from their booth, they had another table. I don't recall whose table it was, but it was a guy who had Mythic Legions, but they were all customized, and it just right there sparked a light, and just it was one of those things that I knew I just had to get into, and I just from there I went home and started researching people who customize Mythic Legions, and of course I came across one of the very first was Jeremy Gerard, and followed his Pumpkin King website page where he shared all of his custom creations. And from there it was great because he also shared not just the pictures, but um, recipes for the customs that he created. And I was just, like I said, I was amazed by the raw talent and the just the different outlook on custom character creations. And like I said, it was just one of those things that just, after that, it was just a rabbit hole that I just totally fell into and fell in love with, and just never stopped from there.
And what is the first? I'll start also your speaking of your side as a collector of Mythic Legions. Do you remember your first ever Mythic Legions figure and your reaction at that time?
Yeah, I believe it was one of the two. It was either Vorgus Vermilius, the blood armor, or Deltagar. Those were some of the very first figures that I actually purchased for myself. Um, the the first figure I actually held in hand was oh, what was it? It was Krona. A buddy of mine picked up Krona from from PowerCon, and when we got back to my house after attending the show, he took it out of package and let me hold on to it and play with it, and that was the very first time in hand that I ever held a Mythic Legion. And from there, I was just amazed by how great the articulation, the paint apps, the soft goods, the armor pieces, all the accessories. I was just totally blown away, and that was the start of it all.
You do also only custom figures, or also diorama, also something to give to your figures some background, something like that.
I try to dabble in a little bit of everything. Just like you, as an artist, I just love trying something new, and no matter what it is, if it's painting, if it's customizing parts for a figure, if it's building dioramas, if it's taking action figure photos, it's all part of it, and I enjoy every single piece of it. I wish there was 48 hours in a day to enjoy it more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, non-stop, non-stop
Yeah,
passion.
nonstop.
For example, when you work on the diorama, I believe you use also the XPS font, this stuff, I believe, no,
Yeah, yeah,
to do the
the
diorama.
pink, yeah, the
You
pink
prefer
installation foam.
exactly right here is in different color, but also because I discovered the pink font is more soft, but if you want to sculpt something, it's a little bit more difficult. If you want to do, for example, a brick wall, you need to do each brick and put the brick on the wall with the glue. For example, right here in Europe, we have a green phone or a yellow,
Hmm.
and that is better to sculpt. You can sculpt the texture of the, for example, of a tiles for the floor, or for
Yeah, I've seen people that do diorama work that have used that green stuff, and yeah, it does have a different um, hardness or softness to it
exactly.
that takes on better sculpt work to it, which is kind of it's something that you have to work through. But I mean, if you've obviously seen some of the work of some of the diorama builders that we have here in the United States, I mean, they do amazing work with the pink
Yes.
installation foam. It's amazing. But like for myself, I've done. I mean, a lot of what I've done are just background pieces for like walls, or like a gate, or something like that, for something to put an action figure in front of for action figure photography. And I used to have behind me, this whole wall, just prior to tonight, I had five detolf glass cases behind me that I actually took out of my room, because I'm actually selling those off, because I'm going to reset up my whole room. So it's like a big project I'm working on this year. But inside of those detolf spaces, I would build small dioramas for my characters to stand on, either like small, like risers that look like stone, like steps, or something like a stairway into like a gateway that the characters are standing in front of, kind of thing. So like I said, I've dabbled a little bit in diorama work, and really enjoy doing it. And but I don't, like I said, it's kind of one of those things where you have to, if you're going to focus your energy in one category or another, you kind of have to pick and
Yeah.
choose your battles. So yeah, but it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun.
Also because these figures needs a world, not to build a world around them, no, because they are so unique, and they needs a landscape of something, no, in the background.
Yeah, yeah.
For example, for
I
my
just,
stop
like I
motion
said,
series, sorry,
n-
for example, for my stop motion series, I have a huge diorama
right,
sculpted
right.
inside the wall with real stone and real woods. Uh, and sorry, I a little bit distracted because I tell a little fun story. During the show, I saw my girlfriend walking in front of me and smiling for whatever reason, distract me during the show.
I gotcha.
However, back on track. So I like the idea to create something. No, for Mythic Legion, I'm more like that. Customize the story for my stop motion series, I create something to build something for them because they need that.
Yeah.
But I have a last question about diorama, and now we go to your figures. When you work on this die, on these pieces, background pieces to your figures, to your custom figure, you prefer work with simple handle tooling like knife, cutter, or you prefer use something more like Proxon, Hotwire, this stuff? What is your prefer way to do that?
I
Your
have
favorite
a
way?
Yeah, I purchased a while back because it's just an amazing tool to have no matter how experienced you are, or if you just make a couple dials maybe every couple of years, or if you're making dials every day. But I bought one of those Proxen wire cutters. That's an amazing tool to work with. Makes life so much easier. I mean, when I first started, I was obviously just using a utility blade, razor blade to cut my pieces or whatever. But yeah, the Proxen is just it's an amazing thing. Aside from that, the tools that I use, I mean, it's funny. You learn the tricks of the trade, and you realize how many simple, common items play into doing great diorama work, as far as like textures and cutting and making little chips or whatever that you're trying to do for, like, texturizing and stuff like that of your diorama pieces. Like myself, I mean, I do a lot of like I said, I'll build like a lot of like stone risers to put my characters behind. So when I display them, they're not like kind of like hidden behind each other. They have that like that level so they can all be seen. But using when I'm doing those staircases, and I'll want it to look like a stone, so I'll want it to have like that texture to it, like a rock texture. And I use a balled up piece of aluminum foil, and I roll it on the surface, and it brings out this beautiful texture, and it's cool to work with. And other than that, I mean, pencil tips, or just little like the wood clay sculpting knives that they sell at any craft or hobby store. Just simple tools like that I use to make little details or whatever. And yeah, it's really easy. It's kind of funny how simple it is, as far as like your sort of quote unquote like your toolbox for what you would use to actually make a diorama. It's really simple.
The Proxon, in my opinion, is amazing also because there is a guy from the north. I don't remember the name of his country. They created something, some tools that you can put on Proxon, and you can do
Oh,
something really beautiful. Shifting
yeah,
lens is
like the easy hands or something like that, or
yes, like this one, for example. This one is a guider that
yeah,
is
yeah,
you can put this
yeah,
guider on the Proxon. You can do better way to do
yeah,
straight, no, to be straight
yeah.
in the
I actually have to pick up a couple of those pieces. Those are amazing. Those are amazing
yes.
tools. Yeah,
They are
those are
super
really
cool.
cool.
Also to cut something circular or to create pillar, no, something like that,
Yeah, yeah.
or
I've seen a
archway.
lot of their stuff. That's really amazing. And then, like I said, it just goes to show like how involved people are into doing the diorama work, that they would think of making tools to make it life a little simpler, to create great, pieces like the things that you see out there.
There is a comments also for our friends that watch the show. Says I not yet got into making dials with Mythic yet, but I started making backstories. The Bronze Dwarf, yes, Master Versal Toy Hunter is
Nice.
another. I understand what you mean because I built a story in my stop motion series, create my factions related with a chess game, a big chess game, 5 feet, 11 inches wide, and it's related with the story of my stop motion. But now it's time to really start the show because for over 50 minutes we talk about many things. Oh, welcome, Edge. It's difficult to pronounce his name of this channel, but I remember him. Edge,
Hedgehog Action. That's
exactly,
Jonathan
because
Jonathan. And
we
I
network.
have to say, Jonathan wanted me to say
Jonathan.
that he's a huge fan of yours, Mr. Allen. A huge fan.
Uh, he's awesome, and I remember we did together the show with Trevor.
Yeah.
We did the top five show on the Legion's Lounge. Was a lot of fun that night, and but now, as I mentioned before, is we talk. It's time to talk to get to the sauce of the show, my friend, because
Yes,
everybody
sir.
are right here to see your work, not your arc, but your work.
Yes.
So thank you, brother. So it's time to show something your custom. I want to do. We start with the pictures, and we told me everything. Tell me everything about it, your ideas, your inspiration, the name of the character, this backstory, everything, and then you show on the camera the your piece of art. So there we go. I want to start with this one.
Yes, sir. Yeah. This is a standard. I actually started with a female vampire knight. Um, I guess she would. I don't know. I guess she would be a legion builder. So she came in all black, and then I basically all of my figures all base with primer in either a black or a gray to start off with, so that when I start adding paint to the figure, it'll definitely stick to all the surfaces and won't give me any trouble. So once I based her, I started doing some like a gold style or like a bronze style dry brush on her, along with this dark kind of grayish blue that I painted her accent pieces with, that I just thought looked really good together. Um, the head sculpt and the pauldrons are from Von Burke Studio. Brian Burke, who's an amazing artist, created these pieces, and they're actually a collection of pieces that go together as a series called the Eventide. And so they're kind of like a vampire hunting team. And this is one of their female characters, or their female character in the series. And yeah, I just fell in love with the pieces and knew right away that I wanted to support Brian's beautiful work, and just make a custom piece out of this. And the yeah, it was just one of those things that I was really happy to take on and do. And really to me it's a very simple custom, because it's basically 3D printed parts and then just my paint work. And I don't I mean I know people give me a lot more credit than I think I deserve as far as my paintwork is concerned, because there's a ton of great artists out there who do amazing paintwork that just blow me away. But yeah, it was a fun project, and I was really happy the way that she turned out, and got a lot of great responses from fans at Legion's Con about her. So yeah, that was her.
It's super cool. But tell me something about the character. You gave also a name of this character, or in general, when you work your custom, you create also a backstory, name, or only you are a guy that work especially the aesthetic. What is your
Yeah,
what?
for me, it's 100% of the aesthetics. I'm not a storyteller, so to speak. So I'm not really creative in the way of like coming up with like names or backstories. Or I just think, like I said, to me, the aesthetics of the customizing, and just kind of how you can change a standard figure into something that looks completely different, and kind of gives it its own life. That's the fulfillment for me. I just like doing that. I mean, like I said, if I had the talent of writing great backstories, or giving characters more dimension by naming them, or putting them into some type of storyline, I think that would be a lot of fun. But it's like I said, it's something that's way out of my league.
And the battle axe comes from this axe.
Oh, that the battle axe I was from Grid Iron Studios. That was a painted piece that came from that line of accessories. Some great accessories. If anybody here has not checked them out before, they have great weapons and stuff like that for Mythic Legion style figures, along with a ton of stuff for like the GI Joe classified line.
I like G.I. Joe Classified, by the way.
Yeah.
But speaking of this custom, I like the color choices that you did for this, because are so realistic. You are able to put different color and give the vibes of a real metallic armor. No, speaking of the
Yes,
color choice
yeah,
that you do,
yeah,
I think it's not easy when you start a project like this. Choose the perfect color that work really well, because we know also in the customized stain points, this line and the first important thing is something realistic, no, that looks
yeah.
like real armor, and you killed that with this one, because we got the impression that it's real iron armor. No, I like that.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, and the thing is with Mythic Legions, I mean, you can paint on any spectrum. I mean, you can do them in these bright, vivid colors. You can tone them down with dry brushing and more metallics kind of thing, or you could just do a flat, one flat coat of any color, blue, red, gray. I mean, anything that you want, and it just like I said, it's all up to the artist, like how they like to you know put
Yeah,
their stuff out there.
we move in the next one now. And I like, because is another I saw, because obviously I saw previously everything. I like that you explore different type of character, no,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your creation. Tell me something about it.
Yeah, I for most of my custom work from the very beginning, I never wanted to kind of stick to one type of race or character like orcs or barbarians or Templars, or you know what I mean. I wanted to kind of, like I said, just push my boundaries each and every time when I try to create another character. So this character in particular, was a new set that had come out from Wolf King Customs, and they offered these kind of like these dwarf parts where you get the hands and then you get the feet, and what you do is you actually remove the bottom end of the legs from the a Goblin Legion builder, and then you just basically plug the top end into the feet, and it shortens the character down to like a almost like a half dwarf size. So it really changes the aspect of like how the character looks compared to other characters next to him. And I just like I said, I fell in love with the kit and put it all together. And I kind of saw a lot of people were just obviously they saw the mouse head and they just figured a male mouse, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of change it up a little bit. So I made it a female mouse. So I used the top body from a like a I don't know, it was like a female knight builder. I don't know if it was like the silver knight or the bronze, or it's one of the knights that I used for that. So I don't know. I just thought it was a cool little thing to put together and kind of utilize some of the other accessories from other characters like the pauldron from one of the elf legion builders, and I cut up the skirt piece for her, and just again did a black base primer on her, and then just started doing some dry brushes and some different silvers, and again silvers and golds, and there's a lot of really great paints that are available out there that have really great tones to them. So just like I said, it kind of gives it that mild feel, but it's still like that raw, metallic, armored style that you can kind of feel when you look at it.
She's ready to fight for a big chunk of cheese.
Yes, yes, she is. Yes, she is.
I
Yeah.
like
Don't.
this because with these interviews with customizer like you, I understand better the word of this community, and I like that you help each others with this kit that is like a chemistry with different creativities there. So
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
started because of the Horsemen, but then you built together something really interesting and unique. Because
yeah,
this in the other communities not the same way. For example, as I mentioned before the show, I'm a customizer with my friend, but only with WWF Hasbro figures. I'm almost the only one. However, there's not a lot of people to do that, no? And there's not someone that do kit for that. This one is absolutely different in this community.
Yeah,
And I like also,
absolutely.
speaking of the color choices, I understand why you start to do a base of black, no?
Hmm.
Because I work in the only in the diorama side. I work in some really secret so far. But to me, in my opinion, start with the black, with the base coat is the perfect way to start because when you start with the dry brush, the black help you also to give the opportunity to emerge the details, no, also the texture and everything. I
Absolutely.
think is
Absolutely.
and you this also if you're maybe you're not the people that are not familiar with this process is the reason why also you got this perfect final results because also this one the color skin and the realistic side is perfect and I like it.
Mhm.
Looks
Thank
like
you.
a figure, an original figure, no? Because it's really, really well done.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, as far as the like the paint techniques, I mean, I've learned so many different techniques, but one of the ones that stands out above them all is dry brushing. Just, I mean, it's so amazing how much detail you can get off of these figures because really the figures actually bring out the detail more than the paint does. It's the textures that are actually molded into these sculpts of these figures and their parts that, like I said, they'll pick up, the dry brushing, which is a really easy technique to do, and it just gives you amazing results. I mean, it's just one of those things that, like I said, I, far beyond anything that I've learned in the past couple of years of customizing is just how effective this process is.
Absolutely. Uh, I like also this looks like a gloves that she has, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, those little hands that came with the kit. It was the hands, the boots. It was just like I said. It's just an amazing kit and something that like I said, I was totally drawn to and knew I had to kind of put my take on it.
So as a customizer, you are not only waiting about the new wave by for Horsemen for the Mythic, but also for the new stuff for the people that create these kits, I believe.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And to that point, when I first started customizing, just a couple years ago, most of the 3D parts creators that we have available to us now weren't even around. They were just getting started, on the ground floor and testing out parts and kind of thinking of new things to put out to the community of the customizers. But before that, I mean, it was all which a lot you'll see a lot of those in the photos that we'll share tonight. But a lot of those customs that I made early on were figure lines where you had to kind of rip apart different action figures and add a part here and add a part there and but now there's thousands and thousands of great parts and there's great companies like Von Berg Studios and Wolf King Customs and Planetary Dog Toys, and there's so many great parts companies out there. It just makes our life so much easier, and it just gives us so many great opportunities to make these amazing customs with utilizing their parts. And to us as customizers, for me personally, it's a nod to those companies and those artists that make these parts that, hey, this is kind of my ode to you to say thank you for making this great piece that I can, enjoy customizing and displaying and having in my collection.
Yes, this is super cool. So before to move to the next one, I want to see in your hands these two first figures, the number one and number two.
Mm. You're talking about the mouse?
The mouse and also the previous one we because I
Yeah.
follow my concept, I forgot
Oh,
to
no, no,
ask
no,
you
that's
to
fine. That's
show me
fine.
also the
No, no.
first.
So yeah, wait, let's see. So yeah, so there she is. Yeah, and like I said, you could see how the blue, like you could see how the light catches off the blue, so it's got that like metallic feel to it. And then the pauldrons are a little like kind of toned down, but it's got that dry brushing effect on it. And then same with my sorry, same with my female mouse character. She's just like I said, she's just a warrior, just ready to go. And I just
I think that in real life, or virtual real life, they looks better than in the pictures because you feel you understand better the realistic side of this custom, no?
Yeah, yeah.
You
Like I
follow
said,
the rules of the official Mythic Legions about that because obviously the Mythic Legions now is also very popular about also the realistic side, not the details.
yeah,
And also
yeah.
in your creation, you follow these rules because you feel this, you got the same vibes. No, speaking of details, realistic color scheme of the figures.
Yeah,
Good job there.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now we move in the next one, but it's some I won't read also the comments. Uh, Master Versal Toy Hunter. Yes, he followed the same idea to start with the black.
Yeah.
So it's a good way. So if you met different people that do different stuff, follow the same way, that means that is a good way to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's a like you were you pointed to was that, this community beyond anyone else is so willing to share the information or the knowledge, which is kind of hard to come by in really just in human nature to be so giving and sharing to each other and share as a community and make something great and help to make other people better, you know what I mean, and it's great. What's up, Trevor? Yes sir, I'm here with the main man, Mr. Allen.
Trevor,
Yeah,
how you doing, my
yeah.
friend? So now I will move in the probably one of my favorite of one of the two my favorite of these figures that we talked to now, your figures. So let's show this one. Tell me something about the inspiration behind this one. Where you got the
Yes.
inspiration for this character?
The inspiration was it first stemmed from the Gargoyles cartoon line from the Disney animated series. Um, I really loved that cartoon as a kid, and just when I had some of the Mythic Legions, I always thought of a way to kind of bring that out in a kind of a Mythic Legions fashion. And prior to me doing this custom, Jeremy Gerard got together and created the head sculpt for this one and another one that I shared the picture with. These almost gargoyle style head sculpts that you would kind of see on the side of a building or whatever, and they just worked absolutely perfect for this project. And so I got this piece, and like I said, added a couple of extra little pieces to it, again in based in black, and then dry brushed with a couple different tones of like light grays, and it just really gave it that whole stone effect, and gave me the character that I was totally looking for. Aside from, like I said, it's a nod to the old Gargoyles cartoon style, but without the cartoony character. I wanted to make it more like a realistic gargoyle, like something that was a piece of stone that came to life. And yeah, that's where this guy came from. I don't recall. I'm sorry, I don't recall where the pauldrons came from. It was a 3D printing company that I purchased. I purchased thousands of pieces from different companies all the time. So it's kind of like it's just a pair of pauldrons that I pulled out of one of my, boxes that I have of all my pieces, and figured, yeah, these would look great with this character. And then the weapon that he has, the spear, I don't recall who or where I got that from, but that was another piece that I chose for this particular project, and thought it would just work so well together. So that's where I went with that. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, and this probably is by far one of my more popular pieces when I take it to Legions Con. A lot of fans come up, and I get a lot of praise on these characters, and I'm so happy that people like them.
I like this one for also because I'm a storyteller. So when I see something, I start to thinking about possible story. Because you can imagine this one in a castle No, maybe you need to do more of this type of characters, and put these guys in something in the castle, and they maybe they can move some in a stop motion, for example. No,
Yeah, I actually have this is, let's say, I one, two, I have actually four of these characters. So I've actually started to make like a group
wow.
of these style characters. So I have four so far. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna continue with this
Do you have
style.
there the others along with this one?
Actually, no, because I was telling you I took down all my detolfs, so I had to
Okay.
put all of my stuff in a big tote, so it's everything's kind of stored away right now. The only ones I actually brought out were the ones I was going to utilize tonight for the
So
show.
do
But
you have this one, however? This one do you have?
oh yeah, yeah, I have him. I have him right here. Yeah, so that's that guy right there.
Cool. I like also because it's something that we never have had so far in the official line, no? In the Mythic
No,
line.
yeah,
In my
yeah,
opinion,
and it's
we need something about it in the mythos, no?
yeah,
Because it's something
it's just a cool, it's just like I said, it's a cool another type of race of figure or character that, I mean, like I said, it's just a lot of fun, to you could, and like I said, it just shows, from the different customs that I do, how much you can change up these figures and how many different ways you can kind of, you know, the possibilities are really endless. It's just like I said, that's what just makes it so fun, where you're not kind of stuck into one style or one paint scheme, or it just you
also
can kind of
you expanded this world actually with
yeah,
this one
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's something
absolutely,
that, and I like
absolutely,
that. And I like that, and
yeah,
also because when they saw that, they saw, oh, we need something. Or I think they, because we know the Horsemen sometimes get inspired also from a customizer like you. So never
yeah,
say never to
absolutely,
have also something like that. It should be really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, for sure, yeah,
Yeah, Stone Warrior. That one, remember also me something similar in the Hero Quest game because the Hero Quest, the old one of the 80s board game,
yeah,
is one of the reasons why I fall in love with Mythic Legions. No, because I
okay,
like Lord of the Rings. I like Hero Quest. When I saw that my first figure was Kim Brown, that looks like to have to build something in larger scale of Hero Quest with Mythic Legions. Is the reason why I created my big chess game with them.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
now we
My
move.
my draw to Mythic Legions stems from like my childhood, and watching like films like Clash of the Titans and the old Sinbad the Sailor movies and Conan the Barbarian, stuff like that. Uh, the Sword and the Sorcerer, stuff like, all those great films from back in the day that gave you that fantasy and warrior and knights and evil spellcasters, or you know what I mean. So it's like that's where I totally fell in love with Mythic Legions.
And speaking of Conan, I love that movie. And I'm proud to say that on this show, I had two-time William Stout, and the two interviews still available on this channel. He told me many backstory about Conan the Barbarian movie and also the Master of the Universe movie and many other stuff because he's an awesome artist, William Stout. So for
Nice,
everybody that watch right now, you can find the playlist, Mr. Alan Super Show, two interviews with William Stout. We talk about a lot about Conan the Barbarian movie, backstory about Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you discover that sometimes the people that become famous, sometimes they have something special, and Schwarzenegger is one of them because he told me some story that he was capable to understand what the people mean before the people start to talk. No, so that
mm.
is interesting.
Hmm.
But now it's time to talk about another of your creation,
Yeah,
this one.
yes, yeah. Another head sculpt that was created by Jeremy Gerard, and it just, like I said, it just spoke volumes to what he was trying to accomplish with the whole gargoyle kind of theme. And I mean, you could utilize the head in a a bunch of different ways, but the kind of the gargoyle thing was kind of what he was going for. So this one is a, a standard size knight body, and like I said, did the whole dry brushing effect on it. The weapon was from I think it was like an old Spawn figure that I had that I utilized that weapon from. Um, but yeah, just the basic dry brushing effects on it. I added some the loin pieces that are kind of under his skirt pieces. I added from another character that, like I said, I kind of hacked off little pieces and bits of it so I can use those extra loin pieces to go under his skirt. But the cool one about this is this one was actually a kind of a tip of the hat to the D&D community. With all of their little minifigures that they utilize for their gameplay, and I actually went down to a board game shop where they sold D&D pieces, and I found this little gargoyle figure, and I cut him. I had to cut him off of the base that he was mounted to, and I shaped his the legs and the feet to kind of have that crouching stance on the shoulder of this gargoyle figure, and he's like his little minion that rides with him. And yeah, just like I said, to me it was just kind of like a nod to the D&D guys out there with this piece. And again, like I said, it was a fun piece to do, and it got great reception from the community, and I love taking it to shows, and people always ask questions about it. And like I said, I'm always happy to share the information of how I came about bringing it to life, and how I did the paint effects. And it's just, like I said, it's just a fun piece.
So now I won't see this one in your hands, and then I
Yeah.
won't see this one and also the previous one together.
Yeah, so yeah, there he is right there.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. I just, like I said, it's just so much fun to, like, think of something that you're that you want to customize, and kind of laying down the project pieces as far as like how you want it to look, or what kind of stance you want it to have, or weapons. And then
Speaking of articulation, you are able to save the articulation during the customizing process.
oh yeah, yeah, they still are all, they can still completely articulate and everything. There's nothing, that holds them, Sometimes you'll get like small, like, paint rub in the elbow joints that, you'll kind of lose a little paint here and there. But as far as the everything else on the figure, I mean, everything works. It's not, you can totally pose them or whatever. And that's what I like too, because I mean, if I'm gonna shoot a picture of him, I don't want him in like a vanilla pose where he's just standing straight. I want to actually have him in some kind of action pose that,
Can you
he
show me
can.
also this one along with the other one?
Yeah. So yeah, that's those two.
That's super
Oops.
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, they're pretty
Because I
cool. They
thinking
look
of
good
these
together,
are
right?
perfect also to create a larger version of some D&D game, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like I said, that's what makes it so fun. It's just, like I said, you can create all these great characters, and it's the possibilities are endless.
And the friends in the chat love your works, by the way, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
If someone won't buy one of your custom, where there is something on the web?
No, the only place I actually sell my customs is at Legion's Con. So if you're looking for a piece from myself, you definitely have to attend Legion's Con. I've thought about kind of maybe selling a few pieces on the Cabal, like offering up some pieces that I've done throughout the year, and then putting them on the Cabal for sale. But it's not really my, I enjoy customizing just as a personal hobby. It's not more. To me, it's not a monetary gain for, like, to go out there and sell my customs. I'm not. I never got into it for that particular reason. But I mean, obviously, going and attending Legion's Con, it's one of those things where it's, the first Legion's Con that I did was in 2021, and at that show, um, I only went as a exhibitor, so I wasn't actually selling any of my customs. But during the show, I learned real quick, with maybe 75, 80 different people walking up to my table and asking to buy something, and I was like, oh no, I'm just exhibiting. I'm just I'm just showing my figures. I'm not selling them. And people are like, what do you mean? They were like, they couldn't believe that I wouldn't sell anything that was on my table. And it kind of, got that wheel spinning, like, okay, maybe I should actually bring something to sell. So this past Legion's Con, I ended up bringing like 25 or so custom figures that I actually sold at the show, along with some of these pieces that we have tonight that I just has as a showcase that I would refuse to sell to anybody.
Shout out also for the guys in the chat. Jordan, thank you. Also, Rick Jones, thank you. And don't forget to subscribe, guys, because on this channel, fresh toy news every day and also interviews. Before to continue the show, I remember also to everyone the schedule of the next episode of the show. I try to remember because next week and on Sunday, will be with many guests. The celebration for over 3 million views of the channel. Actually, believe right now is 3 million views every 1 plus thousand numbers. However, don't at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Eastern, the Mythic Legions part with many guests to celebrate over 3 million views of the channel, plus coming will recap because I schedule other show. But I believe that on the Sunday after, so will be 21, I believe. Yes, January 22 actually. Yeah, yes, I believe will be a designer that work with Sideshow Collectible, Amilcar Aldana Fong, plus on Thursday 26 will be Curtis Ackerman, your fellow
Nice.
customizer,
Yeah,
and
great customizer.
exactly. And on Thursday, February 3rd, we return Zach Ott of Diamond Select Toys to talk about Diamond Select Toys. These are the next 4 episodes of the show. So, guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit notification bell to don't miss more about it.
Absolutely.
Dai Kamalamon is a solid fan of the channel. He loves, he's a big fan of Franzetta. Do you like Franzetta?
Yes,
Franzetta,
yeah, Frazetta's work is amazing. Has
Franzetta, yes.
been from the very beginning. It's just amazing stuff to look. Very inspiring.
And now we move in your next piece of art. There we go. And now we share with everyone like this, my friends. Tell me something
Nice.
about this
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah, this was actually this piece came together. It was actually the Warhammer 40K series from McFarlane Toys, and the belt piece with the skirt and the upper piece with the armor, and it was I think it's like the Battle Sisters or something like that it's called. But the piece actually came. I don't know if you've ever seen them where they have the figures that have the standard paint on them, but these ones are almost like a test shot where it's just in
Yeah,
gray. Yeah, it just comes in gray with no paint whatsoever. So obviously, as a customizer, I mean, I saw that piece and was like, oh wow, I could think of a very cool way to paint that, that would fit Mythic Legions. So what I ended up doing was I utilized that figure, and I took the top half of the body apart, and then I used the lower exposed torso from a female barbarian builder and connected it to the upper half of that piece, and then of course I painted it in the fashion that I felt kind of fit the Mythic Legions kind of brand. And then I used that gladiator style helmet with some horns, and yeah, I just painted her up, and I just was really happy with the way she came out. And I also used the lower legs along with the boots from the actual figure that it came from. So I connected the lower barbarian female legs to that piece. And like I said, I was really happy with the way she turned out. It's a whole different approach, and kind of bashing two different lines together via like the 40K series and the Mythic Legion series, which I actually think work very well because they have that kind of aesthetic in their brand, the 40K. So I just thought it was a kind of a fun project to do. And like I said, it's just another way of, like I said, challenging myself, on customizing.
And when you do something like that, that you need to mesh up many different stuff.
Thank you,
You
Jordan.
do, yes, thank you, Jordan, to watch the show also. When you do something similar, you do some tests before to understand which part can work to put together this character, or you follow your instinct and you got the perfect way.
Yeah, I a simple thing or a simple tool that I use, and it's not even a tool. I went to like a local thrift store, and found a small, it was like a small, like a toy that like a baby would have inside the crib, that has like the little bells and the little buttons that they push with their hands, kind of thing. The back end of that toy was a like it's in a this was the bottom half of it, so this is like the plastic shell that it was on, but it was a perfect piece of plastic, and it was only like $2 at the shop. I bought this toy and I took it apart and threw away the rest of it, but I utilized this top half, and I'll base it in black or gray or whatever, and I use this as a test piece for how paints are going to look. So you can see I constantly like try different colors and tones and things on it that I'll try it before I actually put it to a figure. Sometimes I'll run different tests for colors and stuff. And yeah, it's one of those things that you actually absolutely want to do before actually commit to putting the paint onto the figure, because you just never know what it's going to really look like. So it's kind of good to have something simple like this that will give you the option to try you know different colors that might fail or work well with your project. So it's just one of those things that, like I said, it's a great little thing to have as you're customizing.
Can you show me this figure also in your hands?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Also because you feel better also the shining also because shining a little bit more than the photo, no?
Yeah, yeah, like I said, with the this one, I actually, on like the shoulder pauldrons here, I actually did a base of a silver base, and then I dry brushed like a gold on top of it, so it kind of gave it that really nice sheen to it. So it, like I said, it's got that great metallic feel to it. And like I said, to get a result like that off of something that was gray to start with and had no, you know, no color to it whatsoever, it's kind of fulfilling to end up with a piece like this where you realize that something that you did kind of came out right. So yeah, she was a lot of fun. And like I said, the skirt piece, I mean, it came right off of the figure, and it's got the back skirt piece and the front skirt piece with all the details on the belt and everything, and those were all, obviously, like I said, the entire figure was gray. So painting those up to kind of what I wanted to the figure to look like, it just, like I said, it just added to the fun of making and creating this character. And it, like I said, it fit perfectly on that, the 1.0, or the 1.0 body frame or style of figure for the Mythic Legions. It just fit perfectly. It doesn't have any, it's not like loose or anything like that. It just fits perfect. And yeah, it kind of gives that, it's like a sexy feel to it because it shows the legs and it's got that skirt piece down the middle. I love it.
There is a question for you in the chat about this one also related with you. What do you think is the best way to put an horn on the barbarian helmet? If you two on the side and one on the top would look better. What do you think about it?
I think the two side by side, like you're talking two side by side like that. I definitely like that look. It's got that whole like like that bull or ram horn kind of look aesthetic to it. So I like it that way. I've seen some people that will put like a spike on the top or something like that, but I my personal choice is just to utilize what's kind of available with the horns out of the side of the helmet. Obviously, because it's got the holes already made for that. So I definitely like that. But to each his own. I mean, like I said, there's no wrong way of doing it. That's what's great about it. I mean, I've seen 1,000 different ways of people put horns or like those antlers or the wings or something else that they maybe create themselves, and they all look great. They all look fantastic.
And now we move, we are in the year of the Necronominus here, so the next one is perfect for this year. Tell me something about this character.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I kind of came up with an idea to utilize the kind of the thin body of the one or the 2.0 character style and kind of just have it flow into something that was different than anything else that was out there instead of just the standard skeleton legs. I came across the NECA snake alien figure that was just readily available, and I just I kind of saw it and just thought maybe that could be something that would work, and took it home and ripped that character apart and repainted the tail into like a bone style, to match the paint apps that were on the actual Mythic Legions figure, and a little bit of retooling and some Dremel work, and added the body to the base of that tail. And yeah, just it was just a really fun project to kind of bring to life, and it's gotten, like I said, a lot of great praise. And I actually brought I actually made 3 more of these characters that I brought to Legions Con, and they all sold, like, probably within the first hour or so of the show. So they were really, really popular.
I like also the challenge that you comes through when you do something, because every figure is like a new challenge for you. This one especially because you create something new that we
Yeah,
also
yeah,
right now
and
we don't see something similar in. We know that there is some interesting how I can call that crazy little bit design for some character in the Necronominus, no?
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, and like I said, it's just, I mean, and it totally
like
works
what is the
because
name? Oh, the skeleton with the there is a really crazy skeleton in the wave. His name is because I remember only the character that I interesting for my project. So this one I forgot, but there is a skeleton really crazy in the Necronominus wave, and this one can match with this with
yeah,
something with something the Necronominus wave, in my opinion.
yeah. Are you talking about the Harvester?
No, the Harvesters is one of that I pick. Maximilius. No,
Oh, okay.
no, that one. No,
Yeah.
I mean the Torpiculi. That
Oh, the
one.
Trapiculi, yeah, yeah.
Torpiculi. Yes.
Yeah, amazing, amazing character. Yeah, it's something like this that would, obviously come from the land of the dead, things that were evil, or things that were, like I said, that weren't being as much as a human. You know what I mean? As aspect it was, and then I kind of took the idea from the Clash of the Titans movie where Medusa was on that snake body, and she had, she was an archer in a sense where she had her bow and arrow, and I just thought that worked so perfectly with this character where she would just be slithering along and just taking out enemies, with her longbow, and again, like I said, utilizing small pieces like the chain, that I wrapped around her body to just kind of give her just that extra touch or detail, little parts like that, on the right side, the that little piece of pauldron that I took that from like an old McFarlane character that I chopped off and kind of added that to her armor, something that you were not normally used to seeing that come with standard Legions figures. And yeah, it's just like I said, she was just a lot of fun. So adding all her little pieces and details, and again, getting those different like bronze tones and gold tones on her armor to kind of give her more of like a worn, um, grounded look. It's just one of those things. Like I said, I'm very much a color person and visual person, so it's kind of like one of those things where I like for my characters, like I said, to work in conjunction with the Mythic Legions line, so that it's like it's totally different, but it works in the same realm.
Yeah. So it's time to see in your hands also this one.
Yeah, yeah. She was a great project to work on.
Awesome. I
Yes, like you
like
say,
also because
she's got her sword and her quiver with her arrows, and just like I said, adding all the detail pieces to her, and just making sure
this
that
one
she's.
is, I believe, is a really mean character. This one.
Yeah, yeah, she's a killer for sure. That's no doubt about it. And then, like I said, it's cool to have the parts from Mythic Legions, like the helmeted head with the hair piece that go plugs into the back of that helmet. I just thought it worked so well together as a female character. And again, I'm one of these that always challenges myself to kind of try to not stay away, but not always doing male characters. It's easy to do male characters all the time. You know what I mean? So to try to put a piece out like this that's menacing and has this much dynamic to it, and have it be a female character, it's a whole different thing. Yeah, Medusa in Clash of the Titans. Yeah, that's exactly what. Like I said, that's what kind of inspired this whole thing. So yeah, she's like I said, she's a beast.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now we move to the next one. And this one is, in my opinion, in my vibes that I got, a typical, could be a ear a little bit, a badass ear in my opinion. Let's see.
Yes, sir. So this project here, um, a friend of mine that lives overseas, he's a customizer as well. He put together this project, and like most of us, like I said from the very beginning with Jeremy Gerard, he started sharing and writing down the recipes of the figures that he made and how he made them. And so my friend actually made this character and shared the recipe with me, and I was just blown away of just how well it turned out and how fun it seemed as far as a challenge was concerned. Because like I said, I always wanted to just continually just challenge myself with the projects that I do. So this character in particular is three figures all put together. So the base body was a wrestling figure, like a WWE wrestling figure style. So I got that base body because obviously I wanted the bulk and the muscles and the like a warrior barbarian style body. So I started with that, and then the all of his armament, like his the shoulder pieces, the skirt pieces, everything, his shield, the sword, the his boots, the leggings, that the armor pieces on his shins, those all came from a like a Conan, McFarlane Conan series figure. And that figure was actually, if you see the figure, it's actually like in an action pose stance, but the figure is a solid piece. It's not like articulated or anything. So it's almost like a statue, but the soft goods that are on it are all, rubber, or, like a plastic or whatever that are on the figure. So you can actually break the figure apart and take all of those pieces off of it, and it wasn't painted at all the way it is now. So I painted every single part of this, all the details and everything, and um and then the
So
last piece.
the material of the skirt is plastic or is another material?
It's like a rubber, like a rubberized material, like that you
Okay.
would find on standard action figures. But yeah, it was all removable.
Speaking of painting, is more difficult painting something more rubber material or is almost the same?
Definitely a lot more difficult painting rubber material because some paints will tend to get kind of like sticky. You know what I mean? So or tacky
Yeah.
the in a sense that were like so you have to be careful with how what you paint or what kind of paints you do. Thank you. Yeah, the shield was a definite challenge. That was a lot of very steady handwork with some gold paint, and it was based in black and then gold paint to bring out all the details and get all those little fine little pieces or intricacies that are carved into that shield to kind of really make it pop. And then the last piece, the head, is actually from a Kratos, God of War action figure, and he's actually obviously Kratos, he's painted white, but so what I did is I painted him skin tone and just left his like, kind of his scar and his kind of signature red mark on his face. And but yeah, that's where that head sculpt came from. So yeah, it was the Conan figure, the wrestling figure, and this Kratos figure, and that's kind of all put together and repainted and reimagined into this kind of gladiator style warrior.
Awesome, awesome. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I like also that you find because like it's like when you create a story in some way, because when you create a story you need the perfect story, but also the perfect character, each details to create the big picture. No,
Yeah.
it's the same things right here. To you find the perfect pieces to build this the end, no, of the final results. It works really well. And once again, you do something different. Once again,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not you can compare this one with the Gargoyles characters of the previous one, that crazy female skeleton. No, I
Yeah,
like
yeah, like I
you
said, I
explore
like change.
different race.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just too easy to, kind of stick in the same, thing all the time and kind of just paint the same thing over and over and over again or do the same type of custom over and over again. To me, I kind of just expect myself to be challenged each time. So that doing stuff like this like I said, it's definitely a challenge, and it's one of those things where, you realize for yourself, as a personal goal, like what you can do and what you can accomplish. And I just, like I said, I love that, the stuff that I do inspires other customizers to try new things or ideas and gets people talking and, you know, gets people sharing ideas or, because there's tons of stuff that I look at out there that I'll contact people out there and say, hey, I really like the way you did this paint job, or I like the piece that you used, or, stuff like that. And it's just, like I said, it's just overwhelming how awesome it is, the end result when you get to create a character like this.
Yeah, can you show me
Yeah.
also this one?
Yeah. So yeah, this guy, like I said, the hardest thing about this is that all the little details, especially like in the all those little like leaflets on his shoulder, all these little thick pieces, those all had to be hand painted, and along with all the little details on these belt pieces, like each one of those individual little pieces had to
Wow.
be hand painted. So it's like to go, and sit there, for hours just making sure all the little extra, details that were on the sword sheath and everything. It's just, it's like I said, it's always great at the end when you finally have a figure that you look at and you realize like, wow, this really turned out amazing, and it really look it, all it I mean it's hard to imagine that this wasn't an actual action figure that was like sold on a store shelf. I mean, I would buy this in a second if it was in a store, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's one of those things that, like I said, you just have to look at it in your own way and imagine what you would see it as. And like I
Also
said,
because I think this one is so detailed, so I can wonder your patience also to do that,
yeah, it's
because
a
it's, when you work in something really small, small details, you need to really be relaxing a lot to follow everything, because it's not easy follow each
yeah,
little line, no.
yeah, and it's a great comfort to be able to sit at your desk and take some time and take a few hours a day and just relax and paint, and it's very soothing and it's very calming, and so it actually makes it easier because I mean I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm not doing it's not a job or it's not a I don't see it as like a task of some type. I see it as as something that I totally enjoy doing. So I'm very relaxed and like I said, I'm thankful I have steady hands and I you know what I mean. I'm not I'm not shaky or anything. So and obviously you utilize the great paintbrushes that are out there and that's
Also, a
yeah it's
small
oh
brush,
very
or
very very
very
small brushes. Yeah, very small and very small amounts of paint. That's one thing that I see a
because
lot of.
I think about it, because now I still work in something really big, still a secret project so far. Is a big time consuming. And sometimes I think, yes, it's so big, so that means a big amount of work. But maybe it's better to do something really big than start working something really small. That maybe I can become no upset because it's too small to work. No.
Yeah. Well, I get that from, I look at my custom pieces and I understand how small the details that I've done on those pieces are, and I realize like how delicate that is and how hard that is to accomplish for a lot of people that, obviously have tried it. But I look at that stuff and then I look at like the Warhammer figures, those little miniatures that people paint, and I'm astounded by the details that they actually get onto those little miniatures. It's crazy. I'm
Yeah.
blown away. I'm like, how do you do that? I would never be able to go that small, but I mean with a 6-inch scale figure, I could kind of handle it. But I see those little tiny miniatures that people paint, and I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. And like I said, the details that they can actually get onto those figures is just mind blowing.
Absolutely. And now the next one is related to something that I like so much. I'm a filmation guy, So when I was a kid, my favorite cartoon was the filmation Ghostbuster, but immediately followed by Master of the Universe,
Yeah,
She-Ra, and Brave Star. These were my four favorite shows as a kid. And I watch today sometimes. And my big dream is the reason why I like also the collaboration line. And my hope to have some points in the future cartoon accurate Bracer figure, no? And I
yeah,
like this one because I feel this vibe of Mojo, but also a little bit filmation one. So let's
yeah,
do it. Let's see this one.
yeah. I'm a true to heart Motu fan. I was 8 years old when the very first Masters of the Universe action figures came to the stores in 1982, and yeah, it was just gold to me. So kind of throwing a nod to the old Master of the Universe line. I've made a few of these characters, but this is probably one of my favorites. Is this this homage to Man at Arms, and I don't recall where the head sculpt came from, but as soon as I saw it, it just said Man at Arms on it. I just loved the way it looked, and the colors. I actually got a paint recipe from a friend of mine that actually did the same custom in a different style. He used a different head sculpt, but basically put together the same pieces. So I tracked down the different pieces that I would need because they're from a couple of different characters for the legs and the armor and everything. And just like I said, just gave it that color saturation to just really bring it. Like I said, it's a fun project to do and a whole nother way of being able to look at the Mythic Legions line and what you can do with it. And really, the thing that started it off was that, as for when they attend PowerCon, the Four Horsemen Studios always have a Mythic Legions tribute figure at those shows. So it's like seeing that their line already kind of entertained and embraced the Motu um, kind of style. They just opened the doors for customizers like myself, who, like I said, have loved Masters of the Universe from day one. So yeah, this was a very, very fun project. The paint was pretty easy to do. It just you just need the right colors, and I just think that this color palette on this figure just worked perfectly for what I wanted to accomplish.
Awesome. So it's
Yeah,
time to see in your hands also this guy.
yeah. This guy's like I said, he's
I like
he was
also
a
because the color that you use are really brilliant, no? Really vibrant, the colors.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And
and
I
that
also I don't
remember me as also the filmation one because the filmation many times was vibrant, especially the light blue and the orange. So I like that. I like
yeah,
also
and I
the
also
captain.
also on this character, actually I don't know, you can't, it doesn't really come up on the camera that well, but you can see on like I did some of the like in some of the like creased areas and stuff. I did some of like this like a black like a pinstriping inside of there where I kind of filled in those like gaps to kind of give it more of like that animation style feel where there's like that those pin marks in there that kind of bring out the kind of like the design of his armor and stuff like that. So I kind of added that a little bit to kind of just enhance the paint scheme on him. But yeah, he was a really fun character to do, and I had waited a long time to actually make him, but I was really proud of what I had accomplished when I kind of put the full piece together. And like I said, he's another one that people were completely blown away by, and they just love looking at him. And obviously because Matt, there's a lot more Masters of the Universe fans out there than a lot of other lines that they see a character like this, and even if they don't know what Mythic Legions is, they recognize the property and they go, "Oh,
Absolutely.
that's Man at Arms," and yeah, it's like it's cool to kind of get that reaction from people. And yeah, he was like I said, he's probably one of my favorite customs that I have in my collection that I made. I mean,
Is
he's just a
awesome. Is awesome, and also is another way to explore this art because it's totally different than the other that we saw before. And I like that once again. I like
yeah, yeah.
is every each custom for you is a new challenge to explore
Yeah,
with your talent. Is that's
yeah,
really cool.
just
So now we move with the next one. This one could be very interesting for the dwarf section in the mythos fan, no? Because we know there is a strong part of the community that love dwarves, me included, by the way. So let's do it. Let's see this other one.
yeah, yeah. As far as the dwarfs were concerned, obviously there was a bunch of different ways to paint dwarves, and a lot of them were obviously with the aesthetic, being that they were cavern dwarves or what have you in the mythos kind of realm. But I saw this character and definitely wanted to do a tribute to like the samurai era, and just thought this character worked perfect with the size. I took the pieces off of a McFarlane figure that the skirt pieces and the chest armor, and kind of retooled it to fit the Mythic Legions. And there's a lot of glue, a lot of cutting, a lot of exacto blade work to kind of get these pieces to fit right, so they kind of looked good with the character. The little skull piece and the horns that are on the front of his helmet, I actually took that from a articulated icons figure. It was a samurai series figure that had all these extra little adaptable pieces that you could put onto their helmets, and that was one of them. And I just thought that worked perfect, so I added that. The little mustache pieces, the little kind of little Fu Manchu style mustache that's coming off of his helmet. That was just some random pieces that I cut off of an action figure. It was some kind of like probably like a little belt piece or a rope or something that was hanging on. That it kind of just looked like a mustache to me, so I added that to make that thing. And along with the swords, that also came from a articulated icon samurai figure. And yeah, I found a red that kind of spoke to me to that style of armor, and did the red paint job on him. And yeah, just the gold details with, like I said, a lot of steady handwork and patience to get that dragon, all the details painted on that. But yeah, he was a lot of fun. He's a great
Yes,
little
also
piece.
as an original way to represent a dwarf, as looks like a samurai dwarf, no?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
something.
yeah,
So you
exactly.
once again you don't follow the typical way to do a dwarf, but you try to do something different. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Jeremy Gerard actually, I believe he's the one I got this recipe from because he's done a whole series of like Ronin style characters, be it vampires, dwarves, skeletons. He's done them all, and I kind of took that recipe and kind of, like I said, made my own versions of them. And yeah, this guy was one of them, and he was just like I said, he was a ton of fun. But yeah, you could see all the extra script pieces that I used from that McFarlane figure that I took off of it. Um, McFarlane did a samurai series of characters a few years back, and that's where these pieces came from. So that was just one of those things that, like I said, to utilize all those skirt pieces, and it just looked beautiful on this character, and the size of it fit perfectly. So, and like I said,
Yes.
that chess piece, it just worked great with this character. It just gave him a whole new dimension rather than just the standard armor that they come with. Just having that extra detail with the dragon on the front, and it just goes with the whole aesthetic of the whole samurai feel.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And also another guy with many little details, this one. Especially
Yeah,
the
yeah,
chest plays, the chest
yeah.
plate.
It's just all, like I said, it's just all time and patience of kind of getting better at what you do each and every time that you try something new. And details are to me one of the biggest things that, like I
When
said,
you
really
work in
bring.
a when you work in a custom like this one, sometimes you change your mind during the work in progress, or you know really well from the beginning to the end the way to do this custom, for example.
Far as the Yeah, I mean, there's certain times where I'll be kind of in the middle of a project, and I'll go out there and maybe make a change to it. Not so much the color. The color I'll usually kind of get set on beforehand, and that's only because, like I said, I'll have that test palette where I'll test the colors, and I'll say, yeah, that maybe I want it to go blue. No, let's try a red. Let's try a burgundy. Let's try a couple different colors, and then I'll find one. I'll say, okay, that's what I want on my character. So, but and details as far as like the dragon that I painted, or that I kind of brought the details out of. I mean, I kind of think of the aesthetic of like what would contrast best with the red, and gold is one of those like go-to colors for a lot of things. So I thought that would work well. But it's just like I said, once I have my color palette down, which is basically the first thing that I think of before I even touch any figure with a paintbrush. It's one of those things. So, but if there's been cases where I've actually painted up a figure, and I just realized after the project was done that I'm like, no, that was a total mistake. Like that color just does not work with this character. I've repainted maybe 20 or 30 mythic legions because I've painted them once and realized it wasn't what I wanted, and totally went back to the drawing board and started the paint job over again. So it happens. It's just one of those things.
There is a question for you by Jordan. Eric, do you enjoy creative writing or fan fiction? Have you ever thought of making comic book based on original character custom?
I'm I've been asked that before, and the answer is no. I enjoy the fiction stuff, and but I'm not a writer at all. I don't. I mean, that's why a lot of my characters, I don't. I mean, all of my custom figures, I don't like put a name to them or add a story. Or I know a lot of people are really good at that, about making like bios and storylines to tie their custom characters into like the mythos kind of realm or whatnot. But I'm not, that's not in my wheelhouse to do stuff like that. I just paint and just enjoy doing custom action figures. It's just like I said, it's just a fun hobby to have alongside of toy collecting. That's just what it is.
And now we move to the next one. So
Yeah,
another guy
this
that
one.
is perfect for this year.
Yeah, this was another take on the kind of samurai series of Mythic Legions that I did. And again, before there were parts available, ready available to customizers like myself that excuse me, that wanted to, do customs of certain style characters, you had to go out and find, different toy lines that kind of fit that aesthetic that will work with, Mythic Legions. So this character in particular is like a samurai style, like archer, and the parts are all from different McFarlane figures. Some from the McFarlane Samurai series, some from other series. Even like the little right there on, you could see on his shins, on the shin armor, there's like these little two small pieces that I glued onto the front of the shins. Stuff on his gauntlets, like little armor pieces that are extra that aren't actually, pieces from the Mythic Legions, that kind of give him that different look. His shoulder paul different pieces onto his shoulder pauldrons that kind of had that samurai style feel to them, with there's like little dragons on them that I'll show you guys in a second. But all the stuff, like I said, his helmet, I took the helmet off of another figure, a McFarlane figure, and kind of carved it out and made it to fit the skeleton, head from the from the line. But yeah, all the parts are just like I said, they're just parts that are reused from another figure line that just kind of just brought this whole new figure to life, and just gave it new dimension. And it's just one of those things that, like I said, it's obviously it's just another, like I said, it's just another great challenge to kind of see something in a different light, and especially to take something old and make it new again without the without the ability to have what we have now, which is just a plethora of like different parts that are readily available to us. This is where you kind of had to think out of the box, and figure out how you were going to kind of make something look cool that went with these figures. Yeah, and he's like I said, he was a ton of fun to do. But you could see on this one, the armor's not only on the front side, but he's also got the armor on the back side.
Wow, this is another guy with many, many details, so many details.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you could see all the, like, I painted all the details on his armor and stuff like that. And like I said, those shoulder pauldrons that have the little insignias on them, they have the little dragons. So I painted the dragons on
I
those.
like your big attention for details. I like it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this
It's a
one comes
then that
out really well because
in the
maybe
helmet.
it's the most detailed that we saw so far because so many details also in the gauntlets. The idea to change one of the gauntlets, the idea
Yeah,
to create each details for the armor in the back, also the back of the helmet. A lot of
right,
stuff
right.
right here.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of details to kind of be looked at and kind of be made aware of while you're trying to put a character like this together. But yeah, he was a lot of fun, and just like I said, it's just so fulfilling to create something like this. And to me, and really as a collector, you kind of look for that kind of one-off piece, or that grail, so to speak, piece to add to your collection. And to me, each one of these is a grail piece to me, because it's like a one of a kind in the world. You know what I mean? There's no other
Yeah,
person that
yeah, yeah.
has this character in their collection. You know what I mean? So to me, it's kind of fulfilling to actually have something that
Yeah,
I could look at.
sometimes, for example, I understand the feeling because of my WWF fast broadcast figure that I did with my friends. Actually, I only design he sculpt for me, or create. I create the idea, and he actually do that. But sometimes I got some question. Can you sell that? The answer is no, only because one, I haven't the time to do another one. No,
Yeah,
because I have
yeah,
too many stuff to do as a YouTuber, writer, and musician. And
yeah,
in the same times, also because I can sell my figure because I need this figure for my project for the stop motion series. But in the same times, I haven't the time. But there is a question related about
yeah,
that by Rick Jones. If you
yeah.
do mission,
Yeah, I don't do commissions only because it's like I said, for me it's just a hobby. I'm not, like I said, I never got into it for the money aspect of it. And I think to me personally, there's a lot of other customizers who actually do commissions, and that's kind of part of like how they, so to speak, make a living. So I don't want to really kind of away from their own business, because like I said, I know a lot of people put a lot of pride and a lot of hard work into getting, their names out there under that guise, as far as like, commission work and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the only pieces I do sell are just, like I said, what I make for the shows at Legion's Con. And I just, like I said, I'm not, like I said, I don't like to focus on what other people want. I kind of I kind of like to have it, like, I kind of like my characters to tell their own story of what my visions were, you know what I mean? So it's like commission work, there's a lot of like, I want this and I want that, and I understand that, but it's like, well, I can see it in one way other than the way you can see it, and it doesn't mean that they're going to be on the same,
The only
likeness, you know
time
what I mean?
that yeah, I understand also because the only time that I did a custom more than one for a commission was a wrestler. They asked me that a wrestler, a mid carder of the 1990. The character was Fantasio in the WWF, and
Mhm.
because he saw my custom figure of himself, he told me, I want this custom. Okay. The only problem that was included, not only the price, he promised me to do an interview, but then the interview never happened because after he got the figures, yes, he paid me, but it never happened the interview. So for that, I'm not really happy, honestly. So you don't know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happens sometimes with commission.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's only human nature too, that a lot of times, I mean, if someone says, "Hey, I want a blue armor," and then you paint it, I mean, it's very rare that you might find the exact color match of what somebody's, idea in their head is. And if you, paint a full custom, or create something from scratch or whatever, and you put all these hours of work into it, and then you send it to a customer and they pay you for it, and then they're not happy with it. I mean, or they kind of come back at you and go, "That's not what I wanted." You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
I don't really, like I said, I don't customize. I didn't customize to get into that kind of turmoil. I really want to stay clear from stuff like that. And I know
mm,
stuff like that happens a lot more than it doesn't. You know what I mean? So it's like, I would
absolutely.
rather, like I said, I would rather, and I've gotten great respect from it, is that I would rather have people buy my artwork. You know what I mean? Like stuff that I created, not somebody else's idea. I want people to enjoy what my vision was. So
I
it's like,
understand. It's the same reason I prefer do my novel. They become a ghostwriter for someone, for example. No, I
yeah,
prefer do my novel. Obviously, it's more difficult find a publisher for your own novel. No, you need to find someone that trusts in your work. But I prefer that because when I publish my novel, this is my novel. This is the story that I built. No,
yeah, absolutely.
and now we move for the last one, another that I like so much because I like big guy also in the mythos, not only in wrestling. So let's take a look at this guy, ogre
Yeah,
size character.
yeah. When I saw the ogre size characters when they first came out, um, I first of all, I mean, the just doing the repaint on all of his armor and stuff. I mean, that's a project within itself. Just kind of getting all those details, because when you get the ogre Legion builder, he all of his armor is just gray. There's no color in it whatsoever on his pauldrons, on his boots, on his belt piece. It's all just gray. So kind of just like reimagining what that would look like, kind of in form, in with full color to it, adding all those little details to all the little belt buckles, and the bone pieces that are coming off of his wristbands and stuff. And then, aside from that, I was looking at the character, and the green just stood out so much, and it just reminded me of a dragon. It just The first thing I thought of was like a dragon instead of like an ogre or an orc. I just So I kind of looked around, different, toy places, and I actually came across the McFarlane Dragon series of action figures that he had available that were a few years old, but they were still around. So I kind of I picked one up and pulled it all apart, and I pulled the it had a nice long like bendy style tail and beautiful wings that I repainted and yeah, and then I just this character I actually had to drill into the back of the character to kind of pilot in some holes to actually glue in the wings that are on his back so they're attached. And also um I drilled a hole into his backside where I actually put like a small rod into him that connected the tailpiece. So the tailpiece is completely in. It's actually part of the actual action figure now, and it's like a permanent piece to him. So it just it he's been a showstopper ever since. I mean, every time I take him to, Legion's Con and he goes on display, and I have him on like a little spinner table that he spins around so you can kind of get him from all angles, and people just fall in love with him every time. And I was really proud of this, and it was one of those things that I had not seen someone do before I had done mine, and I just like I said, I was kind of really happy to take on, like I said, yet another challenge of customizing and creating something that wasn't there. You know what I mean? And yeah,
Yeah.
he's a big beast. He's like I said, and his wings just. I mean, I just thought these wings were amazing just to add
Yes.
to
Beautiful.
him. Yeah, and you can see how I added the wings to his back pieces there. So he's like I said, those are permanently attached, and then along with his tail too, it just comes out of his backside. But it's just one of those. It's like a bendy tail, so you can like bend it in different things. So it's
Awesome. I
totally
like that
posable.
you
So
can
yeah,
pose the tail in different
yeah,
way.
you can pose the tail. So yeah, it's kind of like I said, it just gives the character a whole new dimension. You know what I mean? It's just with the wings and everything. It's just one of those things you can imagine it being kind of like he's like a like half dragon, half ogre, and just kind of has that ability to fly and has that big tail to whip enemies with and stuff. And yeah, like I said, he was just a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Super cool. And now it's
Yeah,
time for my
yeah.
last
Thank
question
you
for
so much.
it's time for my last question for you. We saw in this
Yes, sir.
interview together that you explore different race, world, and you for each figures you take your a new challenge. So there is something that you never done before, and you don't work right now, but you won't do in the future that you never done before. A new challenge for you. Speaking of customizing standpoints that you won't do in the future.
Hmm. Um, I haven't really thought about that. The the fun thing about it is there. I mean, as many challenges as I could think of the things I've already done, each one has been different, and it's. I mean, I've already created over 100 customs in the short time that I've been customizing, and each one of those projects was a different challenge. So it's like I don't ever feel like I'm limited to things that I haven't done yet, or I can't think off the top of my head like what kind of character would I did one character that I didn't share tonight on the picture, but I had never painted a black skin tone, like and I it was like one of those challenges where I wanted to like have that to see what I can do or what I can produce. And I just there's it was just like a character like this that I wanted to you know do something a little bit different and make a challenge to myself and have something new that was a way to whatnot. So just a simple thing like that is a challenge where
Yeah.
it's something that I had never done or a piece that I had never created where I can look at it and go, okay, well, I know I've never done one of these before. So I mean, I've and each and every character that I've done, it's a whole new challenge and a whole new I'm going to actually accomplish what I envisioned. So it's, one of those things that like I said, to sit there and go, oh, well, I know I haven't done this or I haven't done that. Well, there's a million things I haven't done yet that, like I said, along the way, I probably will. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. That's the fun of it. It's never ending, where you can just go years and years and years and never make the same character twice, and always have that fun. And, same. Thank you. Thank you, Jordan.
Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
no limit for the creativity.
No limit.
And
What
now
your
I go,
imagine
the
your
imagination
imagination is
is
limitless. Yeah.
limitless. Absolutely. Now I go to the piano, to the final moment of the show, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone, this amazing episode with this amazing artist, Eric Lebron. And don't forget that more is coming on this show. Every week a new episode. So thank you, Eric, to join the show with me and to share your passion. So, Eric, thank you so much. I like your work. I like how you push yourself in new challenge, in new aspect of your world inside of you, because I think you discover also yourself with your character, because an artist discover himself every time that they do something because you explore a world, but you explore also yourself in the same time, I think.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for everybody who joined in tonight. And thank you for all the wonderful
I don't
comments.
know,
I
maybe it
truly
was.
appreciate, I truly appreciate that. It's one of those things that, like I said, it's heartfelt to know that people like my work and enjoy my customs, and it just makes me want to just keep doing more and more every year, and just keep getting better at what I do, and sharing my knowledge and sharing my custom pieces. And yeah, thank you to everybody. I just, like I said, I'm humbled by the response that I get from, people that see my work that have never seen it before. It's great.
I think it's a feedback that you deserve, man. You are very good in your artwork. So
Thank you.
thank you, Eric, once again. And guys, don't forget there will be more episodes every week. Next week, the show will be on Sunday, 15, with the Mythic Legions party to celebrate with many guests. Over 3 million views of the channel. So guys, don't miss a super fun show where we sing together, we do everything impromptu, so it will be super fun as usual, because every time I get new million, I do something similar. Thank you, Eric. Don't forget, guys, to follow the artwork for Eric, because in LegionsCon next week, this year actually, because we're in January, so will be something for you. If you love Eric artwork, don't miss that. Thank you, Eric, once again. And thank you, guys.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Allen.
goodbye to all of you. Bye bye, guys. Good night. And see you next
Thanks,
week for
guys.
another show. Bye bye, guys. Goodbye. Goodbye. Come on, stop these things. Don't stop. Bye.